The night air hangs heavy, thick with mist and whispered secrets. A lone phone rings in the distance, its sound distorted and haunting as it echoes through the fog-shrouded forest. The camera slowly pans across a remote village, where shadows dance on weathered walls and locals huddle close, their voices hushed as they speak of a woman who calls from beyond the veil of death. A soft, haunting voice cuts through the silence, a warning carried on the wind. They say if you hear her call your name after midnight, never answer. Not once, not ever. Black and white images flicker across the screen, telling an age-old tale of betrayal and loss. A woman, her face obscured by shadow, stands at the edge of a mist-covered river. Her form wavers, then vanishes into the swirling waters. A bedroom bathed in the blue glow of a computer screen. A young woman sits alone, her face illuminated by the harsh light of her phone. It begins to ring, an unmarked number flashing on the display. The air grows thick with tension as whispered voices rise in the background, a cacophony of warnings and temptations. It speaks to the part of us that still trembles at unexplained noises in the night, that feels a chill when technology connects us to something we don't quite understand. Only her voice remains, a mournful cry echoing through time, searching endlessly for someone, anyone, to answer her desperate plea. The choice weighs heavy, fraught with consequences she can't begin to imagine. They say she was once a beautiful young bride, betrayed on her wedding night and driven to madness by grief. In her despair, she threw herself into the swift-flowing river that cuts through the heart of the village. Protective charms were hung by phones and carved into the frames of windows. The village became a place of whispers and sidelong glances, where technology was both embraced and feared. Ancient symbols flash between scenes, spirals etched in stone, protective runes, and the watchful eyes of forgotten gods. They say she seeks someone to share her pain, to take her place in the liminal space between life and death. Some claim to have seen her, a pale figure with long, dark hair dripping with river water, her eyes hollow and hungry. What was once a local tale began to seep into the wider world, a voice that carries the weight of centuries of longing and despair, a voice that whispers your name with such intimacy that you can almost believe she knows you, has always known you. Here, surrounded by the trappings of 21st century life, a young woman faces an age-old dilemma. In the shadows of her room, shapes seem to shift and move, as if the very air is alive with anticipation. The whispered voices grow louder, a chorus of conflicting advice, the call of the unknown, the lure of the mysterious, set against the warnings passed down through generations. Or will the voice on the other end be all too real, all too seductive in its offers of understanding and companionship? What secrets of the universe will remain hidden just beyond her grasp? The weight of the unknown presses down, a tantalizing mystery left unexplored. And if she succumbs to its siren call, will she become the next link in the chain, doomed to reach out from beyond the veil, seeking someone to take her place? It preys not just on our fears of the dark and the unknown, but on our deep-seated need for connection, for meaning in a world that often feels chaotic and impersonal. For in the space between legend and reality, between the world of the living and the realm of the dead, there are truths that mortal minds were never meant to comprehend. The calling woman offers a bridge between worlds, a chance to touch something greater than ourselves. Urban explorers and ghost hunters flock to the village, eager to capture evidence of the spectral caller. For in a world where information travels at the speed of light, where stories can spread across continents in the blink of an eye, no decision is truly isolated. Her experience, whether she answers or not, will become part of the larger tapestry of the legend. Their videos and stories spread across the internet like wildfire, drawing more curious souls to the haunted valley. These are the markers of a legend passed down through generations. Phones would ring in the dead of night, with no one on the other end of the line. In the silence that follows, each viewer is left to wonder. Those brave enough to answer would hear only the sound of rushing water and a woman's distant sobs. Her finger hovers over the screen, trembling with the weight of choice. In this moment, she stands at the crossroads of legend and reality, of ancient fears and modern doubts. In a world of constant connectivity, where the boundaries between the physical and digital realms blur with each passing day, perhaps it's wise to remember the old warnings. Some claim to have heard their names called out, a plaintive cry that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. A story whispered around fires and etched into the very bones of the land. Then silence. The scene shifts abruptly, jarring in its modernity. The ringing grows louder, more insistent. The woman's finger hovers over the screen, trembling with indecision. To answer or not? As she hesitates, caught between curiosity and fear, the narrator's voice returns, urgent and pleading. She doesn't want your help. She wants your soul. Don't answer her call. The music swells, a crescendo of strings and otherworldly wails. The screen plunges into darkness, leaving only the sound of a single thunderous heartbeat. A simple message fades into view. Some legends still listen. Based on an ancient legend that has haunted the dreams of villagers for centuries, this tale weaves together the threads of folklore and modern fears. In a world of constant connectivity, where our phones have become extensions of ourselves, this story asks a chilling question. What if the next call you receive isn't from this world at all? The legend of the calling woman has its roots in the mists of time. Born in a small village nestled deep in a valley where the veil between worlds has always been thin. But death, it seems, was not the end of her story. Soon after her passing, villagers began to report strange occurrences. As the years passed, the legend grew. Children were warned never to answer unknown calls after midnight. But legends have a way of spreading, carried on the winds of rumor and the ever-expanding reach of the digital age. And with each new visitor, each shared story, the power of the legend only grew stronger. Now, in bustling cities and quiet suburbs alike, people speak in hushed tones of a woman who calls in the darkest hours of the night. But it is her voice that haunts dreams and sends shivers down spines. And in that moment of recognition, the temptation to answer becomes almost overwhelming. This is where our story truly begins. Not in the mist-shrouded village of legend, but in the familiar confines of a modern bedroom. Her phone continues to ring, the screen casting an eerie glow across her features. Answer it. Don't you dare. It's just a story, ... But what if it's real? Time seems to slow, each second stretching into eternity, as she wrestles with her decision. Will she answer the call? The consequences of her choice ripple outward, touching lives far beyond her own. If she answers, what horrors await her? Will she hear only the rush of water and distant sobs? But if she resists, if she lets the phone ring unanswered into the night, what opportunities might she miss? This is the power of legend in the modern age, but at what cost? As the young woman makes her choice, the narrator's voice returns one final time, a whisper that seems to come from within her own mind. Some calls are better left unanswered. Some bridges are meant to remain uncrossed. The screen fades to black, leading the audience to grapple with their own choices, their own midnight calls. Do you believe in her? And more importantly, if your phone rings in the dead of night, will you have the strength to let it go unanswered? Inspired by true ghost stories from forgotten places, this tale serves as a reminder that the line between legend and reality is often thinner than we do like to believe. For some legends don't just listen, they call, and they're waiting for you to answer.